Good evening, Houston. Good evening, Facebook. Good evening, Millennials and Money. Good evening to all our listeners, all our followers. I'm Yancy Boulder, aka Debonair Millionaire. Right? I'm a affiliate with Millennials and Money, and I'm here today's our Millennials and Money podcast. So again, welcome to everybody, and this is episode I'm losing track 16. And for this evening, I'll be with the lovely, the only
Cassandra Williams, good morning or good evening, everyone. Good evening, Yancey. Good evening, Facebook. All that great stuff. I'm so happy to be here. Happy September. And my name is Cassandra Williams, aka Miss Cash. And we have a great lineup for you guys tonight. It is Life Insurance Awareness Month.
Awesome. And even before we get into our topic for this evening, like she said, Miss Cassandra, first of all, is it possible to zoom in on her dress and her necklace? I mean, she's look at that. Okay.
Wow.
Awesome. Look at me. I'm dressed just like Ahmad, button up. Shout out to Ahmad the Great. But before we can get even further, I want to stop and do our social media pause. So like and share and comment and everything on our page. You can find us on the Millennials with the $ and money on Facebook, of course, and on Instagram, Millennials_and_money. And you can definitely get in contact with us at 844-744-63. So there's so many different ways you can reach out to us. So I just want to give a chance to everybody to go like, share, and subscribe to our Facebook page so you can stay in touch with what we have to offer on a consistent basis. So you always plugged in on what's new, what's happening, what's coming up your way. And basically what we hear as Millennial Money is to provide to us, to our fellow millennials out there, really life-changing, life-enhancing financial information on a complimentary fashion. And like Cassandra just mentioned, this evening we have a tremendous lineup for you guys as always, really. And what we're going to be talking about is what this month is really about, which is Life Insurance Awareness Month. Miss Cassandra.
Yes.
Life Insurance Awareness Month.
Yeah. So there is a lot that I realize that we are not completely aware of. And we are here just to help y'all iron out a few of these wrinkles of understanding what is out there, how you can purchase what you are purchasing, and just different options. Life insurance has evolved, and we have evolved as our needs, and being millennials and future generations, we are educating ourselves even more, but unfortunately sometimes we don't know what we're educating ourselves on if we don't know what to look for. So that's why I'm really excited. I know that for me, understanding various levels of life insurance and estate planning and generational wealth and just building myself up just to help my family for the future has been exceptionally rewarding, and it's been empowering, and I enjoy sharing this information. And as Yancey said, we do it for free. So we actually have several different locations throughout Houston where we have our workshops. We have them on the west side, off of Willcrest and I-10. Of course, we also have workshops up north off of 290, as well as in Pearland and in Beaumont, and of course, virtually coming to a computer near you. If you give us a call, how can they reach you, Yancey?
Oh, me personally, if you look at the screen, it actually shows my how you can reach out to me via email, but also you can reach out to us to the Millennial Money at info@millennials and money. And also, like I mentioned, you can contact us directly at 844-744-63, and also on Facebook, you can like our page and follow us on Facebook at Millions and the $ and money. Also on Instagram at millennial_and_money. So there's so many ways you can get in touch and stay plugged in. I also want to give a shout out to our magnificent technician, and the man that makes us look as good as we do every single time, Mike. So like I said, I was singing earlier. I want to be like Mike. But let's going back
Yes.
to our topic for this evening. And really making sure we understand the importance of life insurance. The first thing we have to realize is every single one of us, we have a economical value to our family, right? You have an economical value, and really when it comes to life insurance, what we really focus on is replacement, right? Income replacement, be able to replace our economical value to our family, right? So even before you get into which one is best suited for you, where should you go, or what's the different type out there, what's the evolution, the first thing you have to understand is what is my economical value, right? Of course, I'm sure we all feel like we are priceless, which is that's the way it should be, but we all have a economical value, and the quickest way, the easiest way to find that out is a method actually called the dime method. And even before I get into that, you have to make sure you have one of these. Saving Your Future book, that's our financial Bible. I heard somebody said it's 85 years of financial information in 86 pages. So make sure you have a copy of it. You can reach out to us to get one if you don't. Definitely. And if you go on page 31, and actually that book, it talks about the dime method. Like, how do you really compute your economical value, right? What are you worth to your family and to yourself? So there's really four things. Like, the dime method is actually an acronym. So D stands for debt, I stands for income, M for mortgage, and E education, right? So if you look at that quick example, so for someone having $50,000 of debt, whether student loans, car note, credit card, you put it together, whatever that might be. So you have 50,000 worth of liabilities, and the income is income replacement, which is really what we're looking at here. In this quick example, is like $3,000 a month they're making, so $36,000 a year. So over a period of 10 years, you look at $360,000. And then you look at mortgage, right? You really want to make sure, hey, there's always going to be a shelter for your family. So that's mortgage balance, 200. And then last thing is education, right? I'm sure we all want at one point to send our kids to college, and we don't want them to finish school with a lot of debt. So prepare for that as well. So when you add up all of those items, that really gives you your economical value. Like, what exactly are you worth to your family? And another way to call it is your protection need, right? So you have to understand what you need first before you even look at what are your options when it comes to really acquiring, looking at a specific solution for that need. Anything else you want to expand on it?
Yeah, one thing that I realized that's quite unfortunate, especially when people aren't aware of what the need for insurance really is when you're talking to other people and they say, my parents have it on me, or my grandmother has it on me, but you have a young child, or you're young and they may have got it on you when they just needed something, or before there were all of these other built-in capabilities. But really, this is where the education that we provide comes into play, considering what, if you don't have any debt, that's great. How to stay out of debt, which is one of our workshops. Income, if you're not making the income that you want to be, what do you project yourself to be making? And so that is what a lot of our consultations and doing the personal financial strategies are about, because it's not always about where you are, especially when we're in our 20s and we're just starting our lives out. It's about projecting, the children that you want, the mortgage that you may have if you're sending your kids to school. Part of your debt is paying down your student loans if you have some. For those of you that don't, congratulations. Let's pass that on to the next generation. Exactly. We need like a little clap thing, like, yay. But, that is really important. And so it just really bothers me when people really want to just shy away from it and say, oh, no, I can't afford it. Yes, you can, because we see this debt, or we see that, in the personal financial strategy, that there's some room for, various types of entertainment. We need to start projecting your future and your retirement. But then on top of that, what your grandmother has, or what your mother has, or your parents have, or someone else who bought it for you as a 3-year-old child, you're a 30-year-old, 23-year-old person. You have some very grown dime issues debt becomes major if you don't take care of it in your 20s. You know, again, we're not going to mention it now, but understanding interest and how that works against you. And again, hey, I'm making this money. How can I save this money and make it work for me when I really need it the most further on down the line, which again, we'll talk about. So,
Yeah. Just piggyback on what you mentioned about sometimes we in a situation that already either our parents or our grandparents or whatever already have a policy on us. Though I guess the one key I want to bring up is changing situation, right? Because then your need or your economical value, going back to that what your economic value when you were 3 or 5 year old is not the same when you in your 20s or 30s or 40s, because you went from just being a kid to now maybe you're a father or maybe you're a husband, maybe you have your homeowner, you are a student, and so now your economic value is different. So you have to be able to adjust whatever you have. It's good that you already have something, really, congratulations. But what you want to do is make sure you update it, right? You realize, hey, my situation changed, so now I need to, it's just like thinking about if you go from being just yourself to now having a family. What you do, you either you gonna you live maybe in a one, you used to live in a one bedroom. Guess what? You might be gonna need 2 or 3 bedroom, or maybe you're gonna need to move into a house because your situation changed. You went from being by yourself to now maybe having a spouse and kids. So the same thing with your like I mentioned, your economic value, your protection need. You went from I was just a kid to now, hey, I'm a grown person, I'm an adult. I have maybe some liabilities. I have a house I'm paying. I have kids, and so that changes. So it can still be what was good for me 20 years ago is still good for me, still good for me now. So that's really what we're talking about. Be able to look at your evolution, right? The change of your situation, how your situation evolved, and make sure you actually your protection needs is evolving as well as your situation change.
well, the funny thing is people's situations and their economics change, and they definitely evolve. The more people make, the more we want to spend. And so really getting ahead of that conversation and being how to be responsible and knowing where you are putting your money and how your money is working for you and what you're working for. So really being able to say, going back to what we always say, what is your number? What is your economic value of what you project that you'll need to cover in the future? And again, it goes also to wealth transferring. There are as much as we like to still think that there's those of us who are being taken care of by our parents, there's also going to be a situation where we become the sandwich generation because we are waiting further down the line to actually have children. And so it's like our parents are getting older, we're getting older, and our children are still young. And so how are we able to balance those things? And when life happens, we don't want to be concerned about, okay, well, now we need to save. Okay, well, now we need to start thinking about these things because they're out there and they're happening. We know people every day who are having children, who are getting married, who are acquiring more properties, and parents go through illnesses. And sometimes there is a switch of roles, and now you're taking care of your parents. We don't want to make it there and realize that we can't take care of the future that we knew was coming that we didn't have set up yet.
Okay, that's a very, very, very good point. I don't know if you guys can feel it, but I can feel the passion. Sit right next to her.
Yeah, no, I mean it's getting serious out here. I mean we bring a lot of fun to it, but in the end, it is a very serious. It's a very serious topic.
It is.
Because it's too easy for people to push it aside and be like, oh, I have it on my job. Oh, someone else has it for me. But you know what's not funny and what's not fun is when you realize, hey, I wish I would have known this before, because I was in that situation. Sure, I have a little bit of time to make it up, but I just really would love if you reached out to us and really took advantage, or find a friend, bring a friend to take advantage of what we have to offer. So yeah, it is serious to me, and it's getting very serious because we have too many things that happen every day, unexpected things that happen.
Absolutely. And even to dive in a little bit more in depth, bringing it back to ourselves millennials. There's a very interesting article that talks about what is very some of the focus when it comes to insurance just for millennial. What are the few reasons why it's very important for us to plan for it, to make sure we understand it, and really to understand the value of it, even as young as we are, and making sure we can take advantage. So if we pull that article, you see this. There's like seven, but we're gonna focus just on a few. One of them, which is to me is very one of the most important, especially as millennial, because we're so much younger, we have all this time ahead of us, is that some of those policies actually offer build up savings.
Yes.
Which means not only you get the protection or the income replacement, but you also have the ability to build cash value inside of that policy. And we'll talk a little bit more later on what are the advantage that comes with that in terms of taxation. But the beauty about this is now you can not just taking care of your responsibility, but also start building a significant amount of cash that you can utilize down the road for anything you buy one. Like say you're building a family, so maybe down the road, hey, the kids might need to go to college, you need money for it, or maybe you decide to buy another car, you need money for down payment or a house, or there's so many things we have to spend money on, and really there's always something you can spend, all the things you can spend money on. But having the ability to build up enough savings inside of an insurance policy is a tremendous advantage. And like I said, we'll go into detail on some of the key advantage of doing that. But to me, that's one of the big reason as young as we are as millennial is that usually we're a lot more we're healthier, right? But now we can start early into building, accumulating enough wealth, enough cash value inside of those policy.
Right. And so that's what really makes it exciting, too, is just because you have another option out there than what is just given to you by your employer or what's given to you by a bank or just, potential antiquated theories that you're saying, hey, I'm never going to be able to build anything off of it, or just how stringent some options are. So that's also another great thing that we'll discuss is flexibility and accessibility. Those are all very important things, especially as we are starting to build so young.
Yeah. And the next reason on it was, like I brought that already, like we're gonna have kids at some point. You have any yet? I'm not sure about Cassandra, but we're gonna have kids at some point, and we want to think about already, like I mentioned, their future, right? Whether it's them going to school, whether it's us, probably have to buy the first car, but how do you make sure you have the fund available to do that? And how do you make sure you start planning early enough so they don't end up, in the same situation? Because you look at one of the biggest issue for millennials nowadays, student loans. So how do you make sure you can start putting things away,
right.
Planning for that future? Because it, like I said, it's coming. Like you already know it's coming, so you might as well prepare for it. So that's one of the big things, knowing that we have in mind that, hey, at one point I want to start building a family. Let me at least start working on that now and putting some things in place and start preparing. So when that time comes, you'll be way more. You really be ahead of curve essentially.
And sometimes we are our own kids. Hey, there are some people out there who they're just not going to have children, but at the end, you still want to take care of yourself and not go into debt over, your toys.
I don't know why she looked at me when she said that. I'm not quite sure.
No. But, you have your own toys, you have your own vacations. And just like I said, we are actually waiting a little bit more in the future to have children, whereas it's not something that we're thinking about as young. And so we're cutting down that time where, you need life insurance for, protection of your family. But now we're thinking, what family are we going to have when that family would have already potentially have been matured had we been like our predecessors?
Yeah, exactly. And even going a little bit further, this is what I always tell people. You're always going to need money.
You always need money.
I
like to have that time come when I don't need money, or I have enough money.
Yeah, you can. So you can always, even if you don't need, you can always use more money. So right. The idea is build enough, start early, and build enough. And take advantage. Like I said, we'll go into detail on some of the tax advantage that goes into that. So definitely stay tuned and definitely like, subscribe, comment. send a shout out to Cassandra, and make sure you stay tuned because, like I said, coming up, we're gonna go in a little bit more detail on the tax ramification of taking advantage really of an insurance policy to build some cash value. So the very last reason, and I know you actually brought that up, is your employer, right? Um, if you're lucky enough, you might be in a situation where you're working for an amazing company, amazing employer, amazing corporation, and it already offers so many benefits. And one of those benefits could be insurance, right? Life insurance, right? And definitely take advantage of that because usually those are some of them can be even offered to you free. Some of them are, but they're always very very affordable. They're usually pretty much nothing on your. So definitely take advantage of that. But the key is going back to the first topic. Once you understand your economical value, now you realize whether or not what you have there, number one, is enough. But second of all, you at the end of the day, even though you have that there, which is good to have, you always want to put yourself in a situation where you are in control.
You
Especially
need
when
your
it
own
comes
permanent.
to
You need
yeah,
permanent for yourself.
yeah,
You need it to, because if you start a job and you're going through jobs every 5 years, every 10 years, some people actually like to stay at jobs until they're 30. Well, when 30 years older, I mean, it's just like inflation and everything gets more expensive. You get older, you could potentially have health benefits. And when you learn, oh, well, my employer, I can't take this with me when I want to retire, but there's protection that I want on my assets. Okay, well, you know what? You should have talked to us 30 years ago. But, it gets real serious. And it gets serious when I, take off my glasses.
Oh wow.
Look directly at you, say, you need to call us. We must have this discussion. Because we don't want you to be 30 years too old and realize, man, I just wish I would have had that. Or all of a sudden more people are talking about it because we're hitting these streets hard. And social media, it has given us a lot of fire and a huge platform to actually get this message heard about various other products. And you don't want to be left behind. Like, ooh, I remember when I heard about it, but I was out there buying Nikes, for the cause or
let's
on the
back,
run tour.
Let's
Let's
bring it back to our
No,
conversation.
but we're keeping it very relevant.
So does that mean I
to-
also have to take out my glasses?
No,
and
please
be
leave
like,
them on.
You're
Please
serious?
leave them on.
You definitely
But,
need to get in contact
you
with
know,
us.
Going back to, with our employer, understanding really what it is, because I know I get it free on my job, but there's extra that you can have, but you can't take it with you. And again, everything is sold by the unit. And as you get older and understanding how policies are created, and then also understanding when you want to have that savings done, it's easier to save more money over the course of 10, 15 years than 3 to 5 years. That's another thing that you must think about life insurance. It is a long-term, investment, or not investment, but a long-term investment in yourself that you want to put into your future.
Yeah.
Glasses back on.
Oh, okay. But I second your opinion when you talk about having something at the job. Like I always say, you want to take advantage of that because it's part of your benefit. It's part of what you get for the service you provide to your employer. So definitely make sure you always take advantage of what you have there. And some of them can allow you to get even more, as much as you can get, go in and do it. But ultimately, like I said, you want to be in control. You want to have something that even us millennials nowadays, we go from one job to the other, to the next one, and then sometimes we even take breaks, right, in between job. So you always want to make sure you have something that you can control, that is actually yours. You can take it wherever you want. You don't have to worry about, hey, is this? Can I take this away? Can I keep this? You want to already have something set that, okay, this is yours. It's going to be with you permanently. You don't have to, regardless of your situation, your employment situation, will you start working, if you go from being a full-time to a part-time to a contractor to whatever, is always going to be there. It's always going to be there for you. So those are really the three key things to emphasize on that article. And again, like, share, subscribe on Facebook at Millennials $ and money. Instagram Millennials_N_money. We are even on YouTube. Like I said, you can reach out to at 844 744 So you really can, and make sure you have, if you have any question, go ahead and post your question, post a comment. Reach out to us if you need our Saving Your Future book, Even if you need a personal financial strategy, we can definitely do that complimentary as well. But go a little bit further, Cassandra, we mentioned some of the tax advantage that comes with having a with an insurance policy, right? Especially one with a cash value. And so if you pull up, going back to what
Our financial Bible, Saving Your Future.
yeah, so on page 46, really highlights several tax advantages. What I love about this, just a little bit of history. Back in 1986, I don't think I hope I don't think I was around back then. But president at that point, oh, okay, that's something. Ronald Reagan actually came up with there was a new tax reform, just like every president used to do, and those are some of the tax advantage that was granted to life insurance. And it says there very clearly under the internal. I like the fact that the Internal Revenue Service, so the IRS, not according to Yancey or Cassandra or the Millions of Money, is actually based on the
Some serious
IRS
people.
guidelines, right?
Yes.
And she's probably receiving many favorable tax advantage, right? And the first one is says your tax free debt benefit, but the second one, which is the one I want to really start talking about, is tax deferred earnings. Right?
Yes.
I know if you've been following with us, you heard about the rule of 72, or how you can accumulate, build wealth by understanding and applying the rule of 72. But the best thing about this is when it says tax deferred earning, meaning any of the interest you get, you can just defer the taxes later, right? You don't have to pay tax on any of the interest you're actually getting, so you can just roll that over. So and that's really how you can truly leverage compounding interest on on the interest you're earning on your cash value.
Compounding interest is your friend.
Always, especially if
Yes.
when you're saving, right? Especially when
Yes,
you're building wealth.
saving and building,
Yeah.
exactly.
And the next one, if you can elaborate a little bit on that, is tax-free withdrawals. And so basically, it says that when your cash value is in the policy is sufficient, right? All the premium you pay into it can actually be taken out tax-free,
Right.
right? So because remember, you're using after-tax dollars, right? So if you use after-tax dollars, you can actually take that back without having to pay any taxes, because you can't, technically you can pay tax twice on the same money, right? So that's why you're able to do that up to the amount you contribute, you put into, which is what they call your cost basis, right? So that's another tax advantage you can get on it. And the last one, if you go on the next page, is the tax-free loan. Because remember, you had accumulated interest over the years, right? Over the 15, 20, 30 years, you accumulate a significant amount of interest. But the good thing is now, how do you actually access that surplus, that excess interest without having to pay tax?
Right.
You lose a loan, right?
Right.
Because here in the U.S., remember, loans are not taxable, so you can actually use all of the excess you accumulate on top of your cost basis. You can access that and utilize it as a loan tax-free.
Yeah. You just really have to get really creative about creativity and awareness and where you want to go, because we all know that we're going to have to pay taxes at some point. And when you get access to your money, getting something tax-free is much better, because you know exactly what that number is going to be. And when you project into the future, 15, 20 years, and then of course, if your income has gone up, there's so many other components that will also affect those taxes. And that again goes back to our workshops that we have Tuesdays and Saturdays on the Northwest side, and Wednesdays and Saturdays on the West side. When is Pearlands?
Pearlands Mondays and Thursdays.
Mondays and Thursdays. I need to go back there. That is a really great office. I know that is a new territory for us. And then in Beaumont, when are Beaumont's classes?
On Thursdays.
On Thursdays.
Thursdays 6:30.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why you can't reach out to us, find us locally at a workshop, or get us on Facebook. Slide in our DM, as we like to say. But understanding how your taxes work, not so much to be an expert, but just, this is your money. You know that you will have to pay taxes on it. So what's the best way to beat it? You know that you want to save. You know that you want access to your money. So being able to actually talk to someone who is financially savvy, licensed like ourselves, and, really walk and talk and teach this, we can really give you some great nuggets of how to really start building your your wealth pyramid.
Yeah. The best thing about it when it comes to tax advantage, because I always tell people, first of all, we have no control on tax to begin with, just
No.
as us as consumer. But knowing that, like you mentioned, you really did a great job highlighting. Number one, when you start looking at projection and when you start looking at planning, especially in the future, at least now you know what you have is what you have, right? So you don't have to worry about, okay, how much of this actually going to be mine. So not knowing that tax is one thing you don't have to worry about, right? That already is a lot of savings. I tell people, anything you can save on taxes actually just like it's the same thing as gaining money, right? So that's really a tremendous component that you want to make sure you leverage it towards building your wealth. But if you go on page at bottom of page 47, really why I mean we're talking about tax advantage. Why is that very important? And it says on page 27 that those tax advantage of insurance are only good for two scenarios. Number one, if you have to gain, right? And number two, you have to have a significant accumulation of money, right? I'm going to say again, the tax advantage of insurance is only good if you have gain and a significant accumulation of money. So number one, you have to have gain. So you have to have some sort of cash value, right? If you don't have cash value, okay, what does it matter whether or not you can get some tax deferred or tax free withdrawal or loan? It doesn't matter if you don't have any gains. And number two, you really want to have a significant accumulation of money, right? Because if you know, hey, I have this option, I have money here, and access it without paying taxes, wouldn't you want most of your assets being there? Wouldn't you want as much money there as possible? It only makes sense, right? So, but if you go a little bit further down on that same paragraph, it says, so if you have term, right? It says there all those tax-free loan, tax-free withdrawal, and tax defer earning out of no use because term has no cash.
No cash.
Right. Because term,
You're
I always
renting. You're basically
exactly term is just like renting an
Mm-hmm.
apartment or renting a space. It doesn't matter how long you stay there. It doesn't matter how good of a tenant you are. It doesn't matter how early you pay your rent. It doesn't matter how long you decide to stay there. You're never gonna own the place, right? You're just a tenant. You're just renting, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that's what you can afford.
Right.
But the idea is you can really take advantage of all those tax tax favor or those favorable taxes because you don't have any cash. And the second piece it says here, so for now with those with actually permanent life, so not term or even whole life. You're talking about if you have a permanent life, if you have little money in it, it also makes a little difference, right? Why, if you really have this great vehicle to take advantage of, and you only have a few thousand in there, it really doesn't. You're not really truly taking advantage of it, basically. So the key is not just to have some cash, but really making sure you have a significant amount of gain, and that's something we can sit down with you and show you really how you can go about doing that. Right? And you really want to understand that, but the gist of it is you have to have gain and a significant accumulation of money to truly make sure you make the most out of those favorable taxes.
And that's the benefit of also talking to us as well, is because we do have such a huge platform. So we can put you in any of these vehicles. We're not partial to any of them. So we actually take a great deal of care in how we set you up and the reasons of why, which goes back to our campaign. We are really trying to educate our peers, our families, spreading the news, spreading the word, and having people just listen and pay attention, because just because you have an insurance policy, not every insurance policy is treated the same. And the unfortunate thing is there are some policies out there that are in drawers just rotting away because people don't really know what it is. They don't understand the use of it. And again, that is something that we can also help you with. And, yes, millennials, it is for us to set ourselves up, but we also want to take care of our parents or grandparents who say, oh, I have this, and understanding what they have, because that also affects us, So it's just like this knowledge is free. We share it and we give it freely and willingly, because this is just really important, especially because we do understand the taxes. We do understand where we want to go in the future. It's not just about having that death benefit. It is also about being able to use it while we are still able to use it. Use
Yeah.
it happily, use it freely, with planning vacations, purchasing homes, or like we said, even something projecting in the future to pay for children that we don't even have for their college education, so we can help them get a better start, or a clean start like some of us were blessed enough to have.
Yeah, and especially as let me emphasize, especially as millennial, you really want to, because like I said, we mentioned already, because we're so much younger, we have time. It really behooves us to take advantage of a place that, okay, I can start building what now. I can build in a place that's offer me all those tax favors, and I can do it. I can start it early because, again, you always gonna can use some money, right? But also I can really truly put not just myself, but now put my future generation, right, in a situation where that is something I don't have to worry about. I don't have to go to the same circle, but don't. But now that you either have the knowledge, and you can not only transfer the word, but you also can transfer the knowledge you've learned. So there's really I always tell people there's really a no loss situation.
I just think the fun
No,
part about being a millennial is all the research that we have available, all of the outlets that we have to research. And I feel we have quite a bit of disposable income because we are older with fewer liabilities or fewer responsibilities going back to, our X curve. And so we are more aware of when we are building for the future or family planning, when to do it, and making sure that we're doing it within our means. And so leading up to that, we are also being more cognizant of where we put our money, or should be more cognizant, because yes, we can make it back quickly, but we also want to make sure that we put it somewhere where it's also growing. We also want to put it somewhere where it's safe. We love a diversified, we like to play here and there. But really just making sure that your family, the current one, the future one, and taking care of yourself is always the ultimate priority. Mm-hmm. Because when life happens, you want to make sure that it's not just about what you currently have, because sometimes what you currently have, you don't really have, because not all of that is yours. It belongs to penalties. It belongs to Uncle Sam if you don't understand what it is that you have. So that just goes back to making sure that you put yourself in the proper vehicle for those unknowns in life.
Yeah, exactly. And like you were talking about us being millennial, we have that time. And because nowadays we living, longer and longer. So having a building wealth and build a significant amount of wealth is paramount, really. So this is information that not only can benefit you, but also something that you can, like say, you can start now, and ultimately can even benefit the future family. But now to kind of bring everything back together, to kind of really summarize all that we talk about protection, the different type, the need, understand your economical value, the tax ramification. Why is that important for us millennials to have it? It's truly well building, right?
Yes.
And when it comes to well building, one of the biggest, even yesterday, I remember I was talking with my barber, and he was asking me that a lot of time when people want to build what, sometimes they worry about the risk that comes with it, right? So now, which is understandable to begin with, right? But I want to really go on again on page 77 of
Saving your future.
Da-da-da-da-da. So again, make sure you have a copy, right? Make sure you can get your hands on a copy. You can definitely DM Cassandra. She will be more than happy to get you one. You can even have I've heard there's a digital copy of that floating somewhere out there. But there's definitely a way for you to have it. Now, I was mentioning ultimately when it comes to build well, one of the key is growth and safety. How do you combine the two? How do you take advantage of both? Getting growth to not just outpace inflation, but build a significant amount of wealth. But at the same time, making sure you're safe, making sure you don't have to wake up tomorrow wonder like what happened to my
Yeah,
assets.
using it as an appropriate savings
Yeah.
plan.
So now, and it says that, do you understand both growth and safety? So when people think about safety, usually they think about the bank safe. You put the money there, come here next day, it's still there. Um, but when I think about growth,
It's still there. There's not very much of it that they've added to it either.
yeah, exactly. That's part of the safety.
Yeah, that's the
Right?
safety.
And when they want growth, why they look at investment securities. So, but now the problem is says that there's usually, it seems like the problem is if you want growth, you're not always gonna get safety because
Right.
there's risk, or when you want safety, you can get enough growth to accept to beat inflation or to reach whatever goal you even have. Thinking about going back to the rule of 72. So sounds like a catch 22. But now what people don't understand is actually a way for you to get both the growth and the safety. Right? And even better is truly if you want to think about a comprehensive solution to building wealth. I always tell people there's four factors you have to either you're fighting against or you have to really beat. If I can, that's the word I can really use. The first one is, like I mentioned, is inflation. Right? You want to make sure you can outpace inflation, right? And to do that, since you don't have any control of inflation, or we don't have any control of inflation, is you need growth. That's why you need the growth. Right? That's why you need a significant amount of return on your assets, so you can outpace inflation. But the next thing is, and when it comes to risk, sometimes you don't control the performance market. So that's why you need the next one, which is the safety, right? So
Right.
you can whatever you put in or whatever the goals you get is safe enough for you and your family. And of course, what we just finished talking about is we don't have any control on taxes. It is what it is.
Right.
Right. So why you need a tax efficient vehicle, right, to build your wealth. And last but not least is protection, because a lot of time if you build enough wealth, if you have significant amount of wealth, sometimes you worry that someone can just come and sue you and get it. So how do you make sure you
Yeah.
can protect it against even that, against even lawsuits? So now if you have those four component, and you mentioned even the living benefit, if you have those four component, really, that's surely how you can build wealth responsibly, if I can put it that way.
I'm going to add another level of protection just
Okay.
because I do understand, even though we are talking to millennials, we actually have a nice stretch of some millennials that go all the way up to 1980, 1981. And so we are also starting to speak to people that have children of the age of, sixth grade, middle school going into high school. Well, pretty soon they're going to be going into college. And we always have these conversations of, how is it that there's some wealthy people that are able to not always spend their money to put their children in school? And I think it's been a fun process to learn and understand that it's not about hiding. Again, it's about protecting, because this is legal. It's out there in the IRS books, but putting it in the right vehicle is also going to protect. If you want to build your child their college tuition, how do you keep that from being exposed? You have it in a certain type of product, so then when you are putting down your income, which you've been saving for the last 10, 15 years of their life, you don't have to expose it. It's counted totally different because it goes back to safety, tax-free, protected, because it is built in a proper life insurance product. Again, we can help you with all of that. And I know this is Life Insurance Awareness Month, but I feel like we got a lot in this hour, didn't we? I mean, look, I know y'all are going to have to get a recap of it because, I mean, we talk this every day. It excites us. We get different stories. I mean, some of them are really testimonies. I love the testimonies. But then there's also times when it's also wonderful when we hear from some older generations like, wow, I wish I would have known this. Please share this with my niece, with my daughter. I have a grandchild on the way. How can we get something going on for them? Because for them, they may say, okay, well, I can't do this, but I would like to put my money somewhere where I know it will count in the future. So again, it goes back to protection of our family too.
Yeah.
Protection of our money, protection of our family, our assets, and just really taking it, as a whole entire generation building. I mean, that's what really counts. We're making money. We need to make sure that it's going to work for us. We work for money. Let money work for us.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking when you mentioned. I was thinking about even on when it comes to estate planning. That's something you can definitely.
Estate
And again, you
planning's
can go
huge.
a little more in depth with it, but you can definitely leverage this to start planning on your estate, because that's really what happened when you again, but that might not apply to everybody, especially if you have a significant amount of wealth. One of the things you might be facing estate taxes, but how do you can still leverage a vehicle like this to take care of that for you. But like I said, there's so many things that goes into it. But really, is the first piece is understanding first of all your you said to start the show is your economical value. Right, that's really where it started. What do you need? What's your current situation? And even not just your current situation. Again, you said you can even start planning ahead, right?
Yeah, have
Because
the
yeah, I
conversation.
know, yeah, maybe I'm here, but I know okay where I want to go. So you can start planning for that future, right? You can start planning for that future now, knowing that, like I said, hey, maybe I don't have family, but I'm planning on having one. And this is what I might thinking. So you can already start planning. So now, if down the road, yeah, you have to adjust the plan. It's not going to be a drastic adjustment because you already planned for some of it,
Right.
right?
That's important.
Because you might think that one, all of a sudden you get triplet. Like, okay, what do you have to do? Something has
Did you
to
say
change.
triplets?
Yeah, people
Oh,
do have
oh,
triplets,
wow.
like,
That is definitely something unexpected.
right? So, so
I wasn't expecting that. That's for sure.
right.
Wow.
So
So nice for you to be a man, Yancy. You said triplets, and
I
I
just
was like, ouch.
I okay, it happens. I'm not wishing that on anyone. By the way, I'm just saying it is unexpected, right? So it happens. You have to
Yeah.
that at that time. Your plan has to be adjusted, but at least it won't be as much if you already plan on something. If we're looking forward, right? Do forward planning. But that's really where it starts. When you look at your economical value or your protection need, do it with a forward thinking. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, gotta be
So
forward thinking. Be
and so that's
responsible. Let's
that's
take back what the meaning of being a millennial is. I'm sorry. Because the thing is we have this bad rap. Even though we know that we are capable of so much,
Mhm.
let's do this forward thinking and this planning because we are the future. We're in it right now. We're making a lot of moves,
Mhm.
and we are building the future too. You like that, huh? You about to dance over there, but it's like we are we have a lot of future that we're responsible for, and I think we're doing a great job. I just think that, we just need to have more conversations of how we're doing it and not just this is what I have. Just because this is what you have doesn't always mean it's the right thing. So, it's been rewarding to actually be able to say I can take this money and know what I'm planning for. I can take these few $100s and know that I don't need it. Where can I put it that it's going to be safe? Where can I put it that it will work further for me than what I can do with it on my own because I didn't know anything?
Mhm.
And so I'm actually being able to project a retirement. I wasn't ever thinking about a retirement before. I was just thinking, I'm going to not work anymore and then I'm going to live.
Yeah.
Through our conversations, we realized that that's not how it goes. Going back to specifically the main part of taxes, you saved up all this money. You've saved up money from decades ago. How many times have the taxes increased and changed? Are you making the amount of money that you thought you would be making going forward in the future? Or how many jobs have you moved to where you're no longer vested into that company? So, for those of us that are still employed, or even those of us that are even going into the entrepreneurial realm, understanding how we're going to build that nest egg, and even more so, that challenge for us in the entrepreneurship is we are now responsible of building our own retirement. We
Yeah.
don't have, some of us don't even have employers that even contribute, but you even more so have to go and you have to seek, where can I put my money to know that as the economy changes, even though I know what my economic value is the economy going to take care of me? No. So I need to take care of myself and know that my money is safe, protected, growing, and also tax advantage.
Yeah, and it goes back to really education. Like you said, some of all these workshops are available to every single one of us. Are available to the community. Is available to us millennials, and you can definitely access that at our financial center here on Northwest Freeway, so off of 290, 290 West. Every Tuesday at 7, and every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. And you can also access the same thing on off of Katy Freeway, right? On Wednesday at 7, and on Saturday morning as well. At Pearland, Monday and Thursday 7. In Beaumont on Thursday at 6:30. So really, you have and the best thing about it, you can even do it virtually. So there's really no way you can escape it if you're actually seeking for it. If you want more education, if you're looking for the information, you can definitely have access to it. Right?
I just love what we do.
Right.
I do. I love it. I love the fact that, we are here. We are able to share this information, and we have partners all over Houston. I mean, as you're saying, where we are and how often we're there and how we're able to be reached, I just love what we do.
Yeah.
I love the fact that, without someone like me, I would not have been able to be where I am
Today.
and helping other people also understand how their money grows and becoming their own money manager. And I'm just really excited for the future, as we're coming towards the end of the year, being able to project next year. I mean, we're always growing, we're always changing, and our money is too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really fun to be able to share this information with each other and also share it, publicly. I love it when I get a message in my inbox for someone actually asking me information about what it is that we do, what it is that we share. Are they behind? Can they catch up? Let's sit down. Let's talk about this. Let's have a conversation.
Okay. I mean, definitely. It is a privileged position, right? To know that you're truly in control of your situation. Essentially, not because not in a cocky or braggadocious manner, but just because you have the confidence, because you have the understanding and the facts now, so it makes you more confident in the decisions you make, essentially. And that's really all we want to do.
That's all we want.
We want to make sure that because sometimes what ends up happening is, because everybody wants to be in the best situation they can, but unfortunately what happens is sometimes we make crucial decision just without the proper understanding, right? So and
there's habits that we also need to break,
yeah.
and a lot of that goes back to having a conversation, and realizing that there are other people out there doing the same thing. It's never too late to start, but you got to have the awareness.
Yeah. And really, not just you have to have the awareness.
Discipline. I was just thinking about myself, the discipline.
Yeah. To do it, but you really have to. First of all, you really have to want to be, in a better place, and want to have the help, the assistance, because that's ultimately what we're providing as a brand. We really want to provide the knowledge, the planning, and the support, right, to all our fellow millennials out there. And even if you find your place, that if you're a Generation X or we wouldn't mind sit down with you as well and help you, right? It's not limited to just us, but we really want to focus this on our fellow millennials, basically, so they can take advantage of this information as well, make the best of it, and put themselves, like I said, you mentioned we are the future, right? So really, the future is going to look only as bright as we are prepared for it, right? As bright as we're planning for it.
And as you're talking about the other generations, please look for us on YouTube. Where's our other? We have more podcasts. We have all of our podcasts out there on YouTube and on Facebook. And am I missing another place?
Amada Great should know where that
okay.
the other one is.
We'll be sure to post all of them. But as we're talking, we're in episode 16. We've talked about marriage or dating. We've talked about
That was my favorite topic.
we've talked about, college planning. We've talked about estate planning, purchasing homes. And so now we've circled back around just to basic old life insurance that touches all of those different components, even with being an entrepreneur and how many jobs out there that we don't have anymore. So yes, I encourage anyone, if you know that you're going to be making money in the future, if you know that you have an interest in money, you don't understand it enough and you want to know more, we are here as a resource.
We are. Cassandra is here. And how can
Yancy is here.
True. How can I reach you at? Or where can I reach you?
I am on Facebook. Very easy. Cassandra.Williams. Also on what's that?
On Instagram?
Instagram.
Please
Thank you.
DM her.
Yes.
Guys.
Oh goodness. What episode was that? 4. that time has passed. And then of course,
it's too late, guys.
Right. Of course, through our Millennial and Money and all of our different websites. We have so many different outlets. And you can also find me on the West Side, Houston Memorial Office.
Oh, definitely. What's the address?
It's 11111. That's 5 ones. Katy Freeway, Houston, Texas.
Suite 100.
Yes, Suite 100. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So definitely. So that's where you can find her. And even us as Millennial Money as a brand, you can find us on Facebook at Millennials _ on Facebook, Millennial $ and money. On Instagram at Millennials _ money. And of course, you can call us if you need to, 844-700-4463. So there's so many ways you can get in touch. You can stay connected. You can stay plugged in. You can like our page. You can share it. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we, like I said, we're always going to bring this information on a twice a month basis, basically every first and third Wednesday of every single month. We're out here. We have a whole team. The next time might not be us, but we're going to have a whole team. The pie might not be as good as me, sorry. But we have, other people coming here, but still bringing you the even more information with the same passion, with the same dedication. They will definitely do their very best. I trust in not only the knowledge, but in the commitment to our brand. But again, you can find me on Facebook at Yancy Hervey. You can find me on my email is right there, h.yancy.m@gmail.com. Feel free to inbox me, to email me. And if you have any other question, we're always going to be there to reach out to you, to help you, to really be that accountability partner in your journey towards financial independence, right? Because it's a journey. It is a journey. So you need that support. You need the someone to provide you the planning and the knowledge, but also the support, really. And that's where really what we want to be as fellow millennials.
Yes, and it doesn't have to be complicated. This is a learning, evolving process, and that's why we're here. That's why we enjoy doing what we do, and we hope that you will reach out to us, just because it means something when you don't know what you're doing. What do? You seek a mentor, right? You ask the experts. We all didn't wake up born knowing. Some of us do have information that some of us don't. But guess what? You have us. So we are here for you.
Yeah. And make sure you do reach out to us. And we're going to be back here on Wednesday the 19th at the same time. Different people. But we're going to be there. And again, so thank you for being here with us. This has been episode 16 of the Millions of Money podcast. Bye-bye.
Bye.